So diaspora, someone was saying, why are you talking about diaspora? Some of us, we are in South Africa, we are not overseas. So when we are talking about diaspora, we are just talking about any country where you are not a nationality of there. So you are a foreign in another country, whether you went to Zambia, whether you went to stay in Malawi, or you went to stay in South Africa, or you're just staying overseas. So this is what we are saying, diaspora. So diaspora doesn't necessarily mean that it's only people who are in America, Canada, Britain, and all that. As long as you are not in your home country, we can say you are in diaspora. So when we are talking about marriages in diaspora, we are talking of marriages that happen to people who are not staying or living in their country, who are no longer in Zimbabwe, who went outside Zimbabwe. So you might be in your very neighboring country, like some of us, we are here in SA. So what happens to this? So in diaspora, there are a lot of circumstances that surround people, and that pushes people into marriages. So a lot of different circumstances that pushes people to different type of marriages. And with these circumstances, there are also advantages and also there are disadvantages according to the circumstance of you being married in a foreign land, depending on the type of marriage that you get yourself involved in. So there is variety. The advantage of being in diaspora is there is variety to choose from. So you are no longer like strictly restricted to marry a man from your country. So there is variety, or a woman from your country. So there is variety. You can choose. Maybe you can get married to a Zambian. You can get married to a Malawian. You can get married to anyone. So there is variety. And the other advantage of being in the diaspora is diaspora removes the age limit. You know when you are in your own country, each country have got their own age limits, where like in our country you would see, if you're a girl up to 25, most of the girls would have got married. And to men now, they are going 30, 35 without getting married. But mostly the men in our country in Zimbabwe, they get married around 25, 26, up to 30, they are already married. But when you are in the diaspora, there is no age limit. So you will find people from different countries who are not married. So it's likely you can get someone of your age, even if you are not married. The only disadvantage with these men or with these women is sometimes most of them, they lie about their if they are single, they lie about them not married before. They are not truthful. So most of people who get into these diaspora marriages, they find difficulty because a lot of people, they lie about who they are, and some are not honest at all. Some, they will say, we have divorced, and yet it's distance. And then in the diaspora, you don't have full disclosure. No one will tell you the background. And that thought when you're in diaspora, to that thing of saying, I came on my own, and no one can tell me what to do, or no one can tell me what not to do, also makes a big significance of marriages which happens in the diaspora. So you see that a lot of people, they are disadvantaged because no one is going to tell you about the background of the person that you are getting married to. Then some people who get married in the diaspora, these are the disadvantages. They get married because they want some benefits. They want only benefits. They want to benefit. So we are saying, I came here and it's difficult to get a job. Therefore, it means rent is very expensive for me. So maybe you find someone to share a place with. A lot of people, they share their rooms, they share their houses, most that thing of sharing. So some end up sharing even with the opposite sex. And from sharing, they become partners. From partners, then they are already involved in a relationship. So they quickly rush into these marriages because of the hard times that they are getting. So those are some of the things that happens when people get into diaspora. But are these marriages really bad? No. There are a lot of marriages which come from the diaspora which end up making a very nice and happy family. In the Bible as well, we have to link our things with the Bible. So you see, in the Bible as well, we have examples that the Bible gives us, of the time when Joseph went to Egypt. Because he was in a foreign land, when the time for him to get married and he was given a position in the government of Egypt, he was given also a daughter of a priest, and the name of the wife was Asenath. She was an Egyptian. She was not a Jew or an Israelite. So we see that in the Bible, we've got examples of people who also went out because they were in foreign lands. They ended up marrying. We've got Moses, who married Zipporah, who was an Ethiopian lady. And you remember the sister and the brother, they were not all that happy because their brother had married an Ethiopian. And remember, Miriam was punished because of that. And you would see that a lot of marriages that happens in the example of Moses and Zipporah is, a lot of marriages which happens in the diaspora. Most of our relatives are not happy, especially when it happens to a person who is getting married to someone who is from okay, I just need to add this one. From someone who is from a foreign land. So you would see that that person usually is not welcome. And you would see that a lot of people will not be happy if they are your relatives. Sorry, I just need to add this one as our... this one on camera. I'm trying to add someone here on camera. Okay. Okay, can you all hear me and can you speak now? All right. All right. Sorry, someone is making noise. Can you just put your... invite. All right. So you would say that a lot of people would not be happy with you getting married and to someone who is not from your country. Then we see Esther being married to a king. And the example of Esther, I like it because Esther becomes an example of a blended family because this king was married before, and Esther brings an example of a girl who is getting married to a man who was married before, and this girl has never been married. So we have got these examples of people who are married and who are girls, but they are married to men who were married before. So we have the example of Esther, but she was also in a foreign land. Then we have got an example of Ruth and Boaz. Ruth was also married before. I'm not sure of Boaz, but what I know is Ruth was married before, and she's a Moabite. She's getting married to Boaz. So there are a lot of examples that we get in the Bible of the people who go and blend, even in foreign land, with people who are not from their country. Because a lot of people do ask to say, can I now get married to someone who is not from my country? I'm just giving these examples because, you know, sometimes you will not be able to get someone from your country, but when you're in a foreign land, like what I said, there is variety and you can choose. As long as you're in the same faith with that person, then I'm not going to say a go ahead or a stop, but I'm just giving examples that we get from the Bible to say there were people from the Bible that we get examples from who were married to foreigners. But now, what happens when people go in foreign lands? Usually, you come in here, wherever you go, then you would see that you hauna paper. I'm going to say this nation, hauna paper. Then, you know, people come with a lot of advice. Rora munhu wemo and unowana mapepa. So a lot of people in diaspora, they are stranded and they are being troubled. So they end up getting into these marriages sometimes because they just want what papers, and they want to say zvifambe, and wobva vaita sei varorwa apa tikutota neshona kuitira kuti tisazokanganisira vanhu. Then over vaita sei over arorwa, then apedza kurorwa munhu iyeye akutosiyana nemunhu iyeye akuita sei akuenda to the next person, and then zvatoita sei zvatongogozha zvakadaro akudzokerana nemukadzi wake kana kuti nemurume wake zvichingodaro. Then vamwewo, a lot of people now, because of the hardness that is happening in life, they just say, I need someone to get married to. Then they get married to that person because of hardship. So when we are talking to say in blended families, we face a lot of troubles. These are some of the reasons that people would face some challenges because of the way they've married. And we cannot deny to say maybe with time, these people, they get to see that we can still stay together, but they will face some challenges due to the reason that they went and got married and get into their relationship for. Then you'd see also to say you'd see also that people would get married also in a foreign land not only because of paper. You see, when you come in a foreign land, it's different from your country. You start to see life different. You start to see people dressing different. Most of us, when we were back home, we were dressing with our long clothes and all those things. Now you come here and you see a lot of ladies, they are walking nearly half naked, of which you were not exposed to. And maybe you start to see these men who are strong and, you know, with muscles, things that you were not exposed to. So a lot of people now, they get pressurized because of the exposure that they are now put into. You are coming from a different country where the culture was limiting you to a certain way of thinking, a certain way of accepting that this is how the women should dress, or this is how the men should look like. And now you are exposed to this. And when you look back now, you just think that person that I left behind can never be compared to this one. So you end up seeing a lot of women back home, they'll be crying, my husband went, but it's no longer, we are no longer in talking terms. I don't know if he's still there, but you will see, if you follow the story, you hear that, maybe he's already married 5 or 6 years, married to a certain girl there. They will say it's marriage, but sometimes it's just living in. Then later on, you see, because there are a lot of people coming and asking this, why would a man go back to his wife? Then later on, you would see that after I realized that this is just something, this person now wants to go back to what? To his family. Why? Because when he went to diaspora, he was just exposed to some of the things, and then he just went to a marriage without thinking or even consulting, and maybe the family back home does not even know anything about it. Sorry, I'm not seeing your comments here. So those are some of the things. Then you would see also to say some people also in who get married in the diaspora is because of distance. So, because remember, a lot of people vanouya vasina mapepa, vamwe vangopiwa zvifambisiro zvekuva vaenzi mukati menyika iyoyo. Then vaita vaenzi, they need to stay in that country. Then they stay long before they process all the papers so that the family can follow. So they end up making maybe some 3 years, some 4, some 5. So in the first 6 months, it will be calling each other, and it is okay. Second, third, fourth, it's no longer a call. It's just here and there. Then the pressure will come. Then these people end up just thinking, we are now what? Separate. Then they separate themselves with their wife because of someone is speaking, I'm not sure who. They separate with their wives or with their husband because of distance, and they end up getting married there in the diaspora. And a lot of disadvantage come through this type of marriages, because these people who are now married in the diaspora, they are not even recognized. Their marriage is not recognized back home, because this man or this lady cannot tell people back home that I am married. And you would find that a lot of people, they end up having children, or a big family while they're in the foreign land, and yet back home they've got what? A family again, which is looking up to them, and they end up just leaving the family back home without anyone looking after the family back home. So those are some of the marriages that we get in the diaspora, which are formulated in a wrong way and for a wrong reason, and somewhere, somehow, people get affected because of these marriages. You would see that the children back home are affected. You would see that the wife back home is affected, or the husband back home is affected. Why? Because someone just went into a foreign land and because they wanted papers, and because of distance and time and years which had passed, they just moved on and they got married. And usually you see that the mistakes these people make, mistakes that people in diaspora when they're getting married make, is usually they rush into marriage without proper research on your partner's past. Remember, you just saw this person in South Africa, in America, in Canada, in UK, and you are that person who is saying, I'm on my own, I do my own things, and you don't want even anyone to tell you. So and remember, you don't even know this person or the relatives. So you quickly rush into a marriage without doing research of your partner's past. Then you only realize about his past, or about his past relationship, or his past marriage, or whatever happened for him to be with you. You only realize it when you are together. So a lot of people make these mistakes when they are in the diaspora, because they do not know the relatives, and because they do not want to be told, or they do not ask anyone, because remember, they are in a rush and they are thinking they've got themselves someone. Then usually there's no proper guidance. In fact, no one listens to anyone. Everyone is saying, I came on my own here, so I have my own life and no one can tell me what to do. Then a lot of people, we ignore the red flags in your partner's behavior. Remember, you are there because you want papers, you are there because it was hard for you and you want to be married, you are there because you looked at your age and then you saw someone who is looking like he's somewhere near your age and can marry you. So we are talking of girls who are getting married to men who were married before. So you are looking at your age and so there's no proper way where you look at red flags, because you want to rush into marriage, you want to be named that you are married. And also, people start only to focus on marriage. So you come here, things are hard or things are going well, and you want to fit in a certain group of people. So people start to only focus on marriage instead of focusing on themselves. They start to make marriage a goal, or something that they've achieved, and they are only thinking of marriage. And you would hear people saying, I have been 10 years single, I have been what, and they are only focusing on that. They are not focusing on putting themselves first, on improving themselves, on seeing if it is real viable for them to get married to this person. So because marriage is their goal now, they just ignore the red flags. Then also, you would say that some other mistakes that people do, they ignore their children. So those things that we were saying, you need to involve your children in this relationship. People start to ignore their children, and some, because their children are already staying with relatives. You would hear that people can leave their children back home, and because coming to a foreign land, sometimes it's not easy to go straight with the whole family. So you leave your children with other people looking after them, and at the end you would see that your children, maybe they are abused as well back home. A lot of people come and complain about this, that a lot of people, they are abusing, they are abused, their children are abused, and by relatives where they left them. So we see abuse coming in because of some of these marriages that we get ourselves into in foreign lands, and some of the children are even abused in those marriages that we have gotten ourselves into. Remember, we said there is variety. So you get yourself maybe a Nigerian, a Cameroonian, you don't even know if they are going to respect your children. So you would hear some other people saying, my daughter was abused, while I'm the wife, the husband made also my daughter to be a wife and was abusing. And some of the people, their children are beaten as if they have done something wrong. So there are a lot of abuse which go there. So people, those are some of the mistakes. People ignore the welfare of their children just because of wanting to get married. And some people, because maybe they came together as a husband and a wife, and because the pleasures of the foreign land caught them all, they separated, so they are still in the same area. But you would see that also those type of families, sometimes they also ignore their children, because now they've got a new wife, or you have got a new husband, then you ignore also your children. Then a lot of people, because they've seen environment, they tend to change. So what also is difficult in the blended family is, because of environment change, also the way people communicate, the way people relate to each other, they think it has changed. Because remember, we all have left our values, our cultural, our social, we left it behind, and now we are focusing, we are taking ourselves to be as if we are living a white man's life, most the English life. And yet there are a lot of values which are placed in families that people tend to ignore. So where we were saying when we were saying that a lot of people came here while they were just girls, and they, because they were staying alone and they were renting, sharing with another girl, and someone told them to say, you cannot just live a life of this, and they got themselves impregnated. She's already a single mom. So from there, she's just jumping and jumping and jumping to different types of men, and they'll be calling it what marriages. And because people have lost the cultural value, they no longer consider that as something that people can come and counsel them about or talk to them about it, and they actually live their life the way they like it and the way they want it. uh, okay, I'm seeing someone here saying, okay, let me read it to this phone. Okay, I'll come to this question. I'll come to this question. Let me just talk something here that I did right. Um, so you'd see that a lot of people, some of the people who are in diaspora, they get married because of loneliness. You came here, you don't have friends, you don't have family, you don't have anyone, and you are lonely. Maybe the first person who wanted to be your friend is a male, and he's already proposing, or she's a lady and she's already availing herself to you. So you would see that a lot of people get married. Why? Because of loneliness, because they want some gap to be filled, and they want someone to be beside them, to have companion. And because of that, they face a lot of challenges. So you would see that these people, when they get married, a lot of them, when it comes to finance, um, it's either you are putting it together, or it's either each man for himself, and you say, you pay rent, I buy food. And most of the people, they do not talk about their financial status, how they are going to do, because most of the people, they are married because they want to fulfill this financial status. They are saying, because if we join two families, maybe our finances can be better. But you would see that it can worsen, because you never discussed how you will do it. So a lot of people would fight about their children. Your children are eating too much, your children are misbehaving, who is going to look after the children? And there's a lot of up and down in these families, and a lot of misunderstanding that happens because of people blending without taking proper care. So there's someone who did write to me here. uh, I would love you people just to maybe type there, if you can help, if we can help with each other about here. He's saying, um, I married to my husband, uh, which is blended in a foreign land. I will not say that that land, in case maybe is known by someone. And after getting married, I just realized that the children of my husband, they were boys, they were gay, and she has a boy also. So now, after marriage, she realizes that the children of the husband that she's married to, they are gay, and she has a boy child. Now she's saying, how should I deal with it with my son? Telling my son that this gayism is not right. Hey, and you know, I'm going live ndisi kuda kuti ndizikamwe saka zviri kunzi mukomana nemukomana vasangana because izvi zvinogona kutongondivharisisa ndikikini yangu. Mukomana nemukomana vasangana, aroorwa nemurume ane vana vakomana vanozvifunga kuti ivo vakomana vakadzi. Saka ochiita sei nokuti iye ane vana vake vakomana, akutya kuti mwana wake anogona kungoiswa into this category. So mukukona amwe ema-challenges atinosangana nawo, munhu ari kutaura kuti saka atopinda mukati memarriage, ma-background check atachitaura ayai, kuti you don't have time yekutarisa background, you don't have time yekuti utarise vana vake, or iwewe utarise the characteristic of this person. So we are not so sure if baba vakasiya mwana to be like that, or maybe the husband doesn't know, but ndonyaya itoripo iyoyo. So you would see that those are some of the consequences. A lot of people would come and say, my children, if they're a boy and a child, they are already like involved in a relationship. Saka tukuti, how would you deal with a relationship where umwe wako vana vake vakomana sikana ndibudisisi, iwewe you don't want your child to be involved in a situation that is like that, and it becomes so difficult because now you are attached to someone who is in a foreign land, and according to her, this person is not from her same country. Saka, even though in diaspora there is variety where you can choose from, even though in the Bible we have been given examples, but my examples that we have been given in the Bible, we are looking at people like Joseph in Egypt. We don't hear Boaz and Ruth. Ruth actually said, your God will be my God. You see? So she was willing to go. And would see also my examples, Solomon, who married wrongly, and you see, because he married wrongly, even him, he was turned away from his God. So it's an encouragement, people, you know, if you are in diaspora, it will be good to ask someone. I know a lot of people, we think other people will become jealous of us, other people will become what do we call it? They will come and destroy our relationship. It's not a matter of destroying, but when you hear someone telling you something about a person that you want to get involved in, even if they will tell you that these people has been changing women or has been changing men, just take that as a red flag and look into it. Because I think if my sister, you had asked people maybe about this man's life, maybe they would have told you that, but do you know that his children, Divana Budisisi, you could have been avoided, or you could have avoided some unwanted stresses because you never asked and you never even consulted anyone. And also, you know, before you get into this relationship, it's very, very good to go also for counseling. Go for counseling so that some other things that you are not able to discuss, the two of you, you will be able to discuss it, because a counselor is able to ask you some questions which can lead you to think and to ask more questions about what really is happening in your other person's life. So in an nutshell, blended family is a family that can actually work if you people do your homework rightly. So whether you are in diaspora or whether you are back home, blended family can work only if both of you do your homework very. And even if you did not do your homework very well, it means you need to be extra vigilant. It means you need to work extra hard to know more about each other. And mind you, you need to have a humble heart, a humility heart, because now you need to know everyone who comes from the village of your wife, who comes from the village of your husband. You need to know their culture, you need to study and to know their background. It will be very hard, but at the same time, it's very, very good for you to know it. Then when it comes to children, it's very, very good for us to actually get our children involved, especially when we are in foreign land. Our children are exposed to a lot of things that happens in foreign lands that all of us are not willing for them to do. So because of the things that happens, because of heartaches, because of them wanting to be rebellious, they end up being rebellious because we never involve them. Remember, the one who is married to your partner is you, and it's your husband or it's your wife, and you, the two of you. The children did not marry this partner. So because you are in a foreign land, let's involve our children. Let's tell them way in advance. Let them date the person. Let them know them. Let's not hurry and rush too much into these blended families in diaspora. I know most of the reasons is because we are stranded, but let's get in there because we are in love, and let's calculate every move. And to those who just joined now, I'm very, very sorry. um, um, okay, there's someone who is saying here, it's not only nyaya yana bhudhi nasisi, kunewo yemadrugs iri kuita sei inoitika for sure, because we leave our children exposed. And because remember, they are rebelling, they are not happy with us getting married. Some of them, they tend to go into drugs. Remember, we never explained, and most of us, we don't explain to our children what's happening. And when they are talking to us, they will tell you that your wife, your husband, they are not involved in this relationship. Let our children be involved in this relationship, so that they don't end up being tempted into going into drugs, being tempted into going into kuita vana bhudhi nana sisi. Sorry, there's someone calling and telling me, and yes, they don't become vana bhudhi nana sisi and all those things. Saka, let's try by all means. Okay. Let's try by all means. Yes, bring them to camera aid. Okay. Some of you people, I can't add you. Sister Bonita, I can't add you to camera. I don't know why it's not adding people. So you can just type. I'm trying to add some of the people here to camera, but it's refusing for me to add you to camera. Okay. All right. Okay, sorry for that. I wanted to add someone. It's refusing to add people. Sorry, Jane. Yeah. So I was talking. Yeah, you can. The story of involving our children so that we avoid them uh, getting involved in sort of things like drugs because of rebellion and sissy Buddhi stuff because of rebellion. But let's get them involved when we are getting into this relationship in the diaspora. Let's not take advantage of their age, but let's do everything according to the way that we want our things to be done. Let me finish this one here. I need to start something with other people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.